to another episode of Sips and Trips. I'm getting ready to have Tania join me, and tonight we are so excited because we have one of our favorite travel influencers, Calculated Opulence, joining us tonight. So let me go ahead and add Tania in. Okay, hopefully she.
Hi.
Hey, friend.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? You look beautiful as always.
So did you.
Thank
It's good
you.
to
I try to
be
get a little
here.
cute for you.
Girl, I got ready in 5 minutes.
Same. Same. So why don't you tell everybody what we're who we're partnering with tonight for our cocktail slash mocktail.
Oh, I sure can. And so, as you guys have been seeing, there's been a lot of buzz around drinks in a jar. Uncomplicated Lush is a Black-owned company. The owner's name is Candice, and they're our official sponsor for tonight's Sips and Trips. The drink that we are trying tonight is called Strawberry Blossom. And both Jennifer and I can tell you how we made ours. Of course, she's still drinking mocktails. And so for those of you who are not consuming alcohol, she'll be able to tell you how she made her drink. But with the Uncomplicated Lush drink kits, the steps are easy. All you simply do is add 12 ounces of your favorite spirit or favorite beverage. If it's a mocktail, store it for 3 days, shake and strain, and add it to your cocktail. For mine, I use, of course, my Western Sun blueberry vodka, and I topped my drink off with a little bit of champagne. And as you can see, I have this beautiful strawberry blossom cocktail, and it is absolutely amazing. How'd you
And it
mix your
looks delicious too.
uncomplicated lunch kit?
Yes, and it looks good
It is.
too.
It's really, really good.
So for mine, I also have the strawberry blossom, but instead of vodka, I used this non-alcoholic cocktail called Seed Lip. They have different versions of it, and this one is the one that's made with citrus botanicals. I topped it off with non-alcoholic prosecco and a
Sounds
squeeze
amazing.
of lemon and a little bit of simple syrup. And
Oh,
so
that sounds great. My drink is really, really good.
it made this little delectable thing here, and it's really good. It literally tastes like a strawberry
Yeah.
mimosa.
Mine is
So
really, really
cheers.
good. Cheers. Especially with, I use blueberry vodka, and it's only because blueberry vodka is what I had on hand, and I really, really love this blueberry vodka. And I
Mm-hmm.
have like a berry champagne fizzy drink, and it's really, really good. So we thank you guys for joining us tonight for another episode of Sips and Trips, and we are super happy to have you. Today we have a special guest, and if you don't already follow her, you are in for a treat. And I'm sure that by the end of tonight's episode, you definitely will be. And so let's go ahead and get ready to get started. Definitely tag all your friends, all of that, and let's get ready.
We'll also be announcing our giveaway winner at the end of the live.
Just a moment. So while we wait on our special guest to hop on, let's just simply do a quick check-in. How's your week been thus
It
far?
has been really good. Super busy, but very good. How about you?
Pretty good. I have no complaints. I'm traveling this week, and so I'm excited about that. And that's about it. Do you have any trips coming up?
So at the end of April, I'll be headed to New York. But it's actually going to be a very low-key travel year for me. What else do you have coming up?
So this weekend I have New York and Vegas. Next month I have the Bahamas. And May, I'll probably be spending most of May in Chicago. So,
Yeah,
but
I'm
not
excited to hear
anything.
about Chicago.
Huh, yeah,
I said I'm
I
excited
am
to hear
as
about
well.
Chicago.
So am I. So am I. Give us just a second, you guys. We're trying to give people time to get on because tonight we are definitely in for a special treat. If you do not know what tonight's topic is about, tonight's topic is all about travel and mental health. It's Women's History Month, and we know that mental health is all the buzz right now, us making sure that we are taking care of ourselves. And tonight's special guest is going to kind of talk about as well how travel has benefited her mental health. I happened to meet this beautiful young lady who's joining us
Hi.
a
Hi,
few months
everybody.
ago. And so, welcome, Mercedes. How are
Hello.
you?
Listen, I've been struggling, but I'm good. I was like, wait, I'm doing something wrong.
Girl, we all have been like, it's been a week. So, welcome. For those of you who have not met Mercedes from Calculated Opulence, she is one of my favorite travel influencers, travel bloggers, and she shares so much valuable information. And I was extremely happy to meet her randomly at an event. And since I've been following her, one of my favorite things that she shares is her the clothes that she wears. Now, let me tell you this. She told me I can't borrow her body to wear some of these clothes because the girl's
You
body is
don't want it.
banging.
You don't want it. You don't want it. It's hot and
But
heavy.
Not
I'll let you go
hot and
ahead
heavy.
and introduce yourself and your brand. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Mercedes, better known as Calculated Opulence. I specialize in female solo travel, affordable luxury, with a side of travel hacking. And that's my primary brand.
Perfect. And so, as we talked about, tonight's episode is going to kind of be about travel and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I love about you, Mercedes, is you being transparent in your travel journey and kind of how you got started.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, for those that don't know your backstory, would you mind kind of sharing like what kind of led you
Absolutely.
into travel?
Yes, so I have always been an avid traveler. My mom did consulting for United when I was a little girl, so I have been getting flued out since the beginning of time. But I had an engagement. My engagement ended, and it ended fairly traumatically. It was very unexpected, and obviously it was right before COVID. And so I'd always traveled. I mean, we got engaged in Thailand. We were getting married in Italy. So travel has always been a huge part of my story and my life. But because of COVID, I was just going to therapy virtually twice a week. And so as I, kind of got better, travel started opening up a bit more. I hadn't been on social media at all. And so I just kind of started traveling again. And I started documenting my journey. And it kind of turned into a visual diary of life after heartbreak. But when I started, had no idea. Like literally, I was on a trip with my cousin and she wasn't feeling her best. She had been furloughed twice. She was living in New York, working in marketing. And she was just like, listen, when we go somewhere, like, it's like we're not even on the same trip. You got this tripod, you got these outfits, like someone needs to see this. And so I ended up posting, and probably within 3 weeks of me posting, Black Voyagers was my first feature. And they posted me, I was in Marfa, Texas. And she was like, girl, they do not post domestic travel. Like, we are in West Texas. Like, you need to do something. And so, I had some travel planned with my family coming up. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to start, documenting this journey. And that was when, Instagram was still a photo app, RIP. So that was like 2021. Going into 2022. And so, I don't know, it's all a blur at this point. But essentially, that's kind of how I got started. And the rest is really just a bizarre series of events that I often like pinch myself because I can't really believe how far I've come and that I'm where I'm at now. And yeah, and now it's my full-time job. So very bizarre.
That
Is
amazing.
amazing.
What made you decide to go full time?
So at the end of last year, I was at the hem of like 30K, but I was starting to grow. Like I was having some really big growth spurts. And I was like, you know what? I don't know that I've ever really candidly dreamt about something and been like, I feel like I'm purpose driven. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. The kind of messaging that I was just getting from other women of color, just about like my journey and it really being healing to them and inspiring for them. I was just like, I think, while I don't know that like this is the full vehicle of my purpose, like it's certainly a way in which I can share with women of color how we should and absolutely must show up in the world, and take up space, and that we are worthy of all the things that we desire. And so, it was a great opportunity. I was unhappy. I was working in clinical research. I was doing oversight in clinical trials. I was working like crazy and still trying to travel. It was insane, actually, how I was living. And so, I had savings, thankfully, to really bet on myself. And I was like, we just gonna see. And I gave myself a year, and I was like, girl, if you ain't made any money in a year, pack it in. You need to be back on LinkedIn. But here we are, January made a year. We still cooking,
Right.
and
Congratulations.
some great things have happened. And ironically, a lot of the opportunities that I've had have not come from travel. They have come from fashion. And so I'm a Rent the Runway ambassador. I'm a Amazon fashion ambassador. And those have been like great vehicles to me, leveling up my coins, because, sometimes as a woman of color, being a creator is very much ghetto. And so I am grateful, just for the community that I built and the way in which they support me. And so it has allowed for me to continue dreaming and going harder. And so it is absolutely my pleasure to just be of value to them and share as much as I know and as I can, because there's a lot of gatekeeping that happens in these spaces, unfortunately. But I'm certainly trying to do everything I can to change that.
And you do a really great job with that. You're always sharing information in your stories and your fashion. Oh my God. Like, I watch you order things, and then you actually take the time to try them on, to show us how they fit, to give your honest reviews, and you stay selling out different
This is
things.
true. But you know what? It's really sad. And I had this conversation with a girlfriend the other day. I was like, the Black buying power is so strong, but people really sleep on us and they don't focus on us. And so I have girlfriends all the time that'll be like, girl, I saw that, and there was no way I would have never bought that. I would have never looked at it. And it's because the representation is not there. And it is so important for us to see ourselves, in food, in fashion, in finery, in travel, because if we don't think that it is possible for us. And it absolutely is. And we are so deserving.
For sure. I definitely agree. And I know Jennifer and I have talked about, I know when I started traveling, maybe, it's been almost 10 years ago, we didn't have like social media to kind of guide.
No.
There was nothing. When I started solo traveling, literally my mom was like, can you just stay somewhere on my points? That's how I learned points. Because my mom she's always had a lot of corporate travel points. And so she was like, I fully support this if this is what you want to do in your free time. But she was like, you can't be staying in them hostels. I'm not comfortable with this. And so I started, because I was like, okay, how many points I got, what I'm working with. And so that's how I started navigating like travel hacking, because there was not a word for solo travel when I started solo traveling. And I know a lot of the girls, they love to be like, oh, I'm solo traveling on a whole trip with their homegirls. That's neither here nor there. But when we started, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a word. Like blogs were barely even. I can remember OG bloggers, and they weren't women. They were white men. They were white men who were backpacking. Yeah.
Yep, and having to go to Pinterest.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And hoping. Sure. Yeah.
And so if you just joined us, we have Calculated Opulence here. Our guest for tonight is we speak about travel and the impacts it can have on mental health. I am Tania. I am the founder of Travels by Tania, a full-service travel company. And we have Jennifer from Red Lips and Passport. And we are all super passionate about travel. And tonight's episode of Sips and Trips is sponsored by Uncomplicated Lush, and we are enjoying our beverages. Jennifer is drinking a mocktail. I am drinking liquor because that's the kind of week it's been.
Yes, I'm right behind you. I was just trying to, be as professional as possible before I started drinking. But now that they know I'm professional, yes. I can segue.
We are comfortable here. And so as we get ready to talk about just mental health and travel and the benefits it can have, we have a series of questions that we have for you, and we'll also share some of our answers as
Okay, girl, let
well.
me get my drink
So
ready.
yes, girl, get your drink. Get your drink. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So describe your ideal vacation when traveling to get away and care for your mental health.
Okay, so that can look a lot of ways. I have not been traveling as much as normal this year because I'm in my bag. So I've been working on the business side of my brand. And so this past week, my mom was like, I'm going to Nashville for work, so I have a place to stay. Pull up, right? And I was like, okay. And then I was supposed to go to Oklahoma City. And so the end of this week, I went to Oklahoma City because I was like, there are so many places I would love to encourage people to go that they think are not the places. And I'm like, girl, if you're on a budget, like I have lots of followers that are in Dallas, lots of followers in Houston. So I was like, I'm going to try out Oklahoma City. And to me, the perfect mental health getaway consists of a phenomenal accommodation. I'm a boutique hotel kind of girl. I really don't want more than 30 rooms, to be honest. I want y'all to know my name and us do all the things. So I love a small hotel. I really enjoy some kind of experience that's rooted in me connecting with people. So I really love to do cooking classes. If I can learn any kind of local skill from an artisan, I really enjoy those kinds of experiences. I'm a foodie, so I'm always going to eat and nourish. I really think that just like relaxation, I try to do massages. I always choose a room that has an amazing tub. Like my followers would be like, Mercedes ain't staying a thing in the tub. She ain't showering. I love a tub. I love to like, I'll go to a nice shop. I'll find like, I found this cosmic honey bath crystals. I found this amazing store that makes all these custom hand whipped butters. And I just, pour into myself. I love to just read and relax. And it doesn't even have to be, expensive. I think a lot of people have the mindset that travel and luxury is about expense, but I really feel like luxury is rooted in freedom and really like and connecting and having good service. And good service doesn't always mean you're staying at the Ritz-Carlton. Some of the best hotels I've ever stayed at in the world have been hotels classified as 3-star hotels.
Wow.
That are flawless. Like to this day, people be like, "Where was this? What was that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, girl, I was in Oaxaca. I know you ain't heard of it, but it's lit." And I had a whole tub on top of my room that overlooked the church, like, and it was $100. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you still have content from your Oklahoma City trip in your story, right?
Yeah,
Because I've been watching it for the
I'm
past couple of
finishing.
days.
I'm delinquent. I'm finishing. Yes. I had a lot going on, but yeah, so I'm still doing Oklahoma City, and actually the thing that it's currently on right now, I went to experience Gray Sweater, which is there's a chef there. He's um James Beard nominated chef, phenomenal. It was a 7-course meal. When I tell you that like the girls are sleeping, because Oklahoma City was giving very much all the things, and it's probably some of the best food that I've had in the last year. And it was international. I had food from Laos. I had food from Guatemala.
Wow.
Gray Sweater is like international, so like they're very like gray. The gray is supposed to be the ambiguity of like tapping into international cuisine, but like never identifying as one specific.
Okay.
It was a very special experience.
How'd you find out about that experience?
Girl, I be reading. I'm gonna be in the Times. Listen, okay, this is a random plug, but honey, listen, I'm gonna earn my points regardless. So I have subscribed to probably 15 magazines that are either food, fashion, or travel of some kind, and I'm a reader because I feel like a lot of times access is not granted via Instagram.
For sure.
The tastemakers are not on the gram, honey. And if that is where you're going to find your resources, you're late and you're wrong. And by the time it gets over there, it's not what it was. So, yeah, I'm a big reader. I'm an Apple News girl. I want to be in the know.
What would you say are 3 of your favorite resources for discovering different gems?
I really love I love to read Vogue and look at the editorial fashion shoots, because usually they're finding very, very unique destinations, like Saudi before the girls were going to Saudi. I love New York Times because they do something that's like basically like 36 hours in a place, and it walks you through kind of the museums where you should consider staying, what the great restaurants are. And I also really love the magazines on the in flight. So the United's magazine is excellent. American's magazine is excellent. And they usually are introducing you to new chefs, new hotel groups, new destinations. And I think that the best travel experiences come when you are before the wave of, you know, the masses, because that's when you really get to experience a place when it still has all of the magic.
For sure.
And I'm really big on that. Because I want to travel like Beyonce. So I want there to be 4 other people there. And when I talk about people like, you went where and what happened? That is my preference always. Always.
And speaking of Beyonce, we noted that you broke the internet, baby, talking about Beyonce. Do you want to share kind of how you got your, not even your notoriety, because you were popping before then, but how you broke the internet with Beyonce?
So I'm a huge Beyonce fan, always have been. She is literally just all up in my memories museum. And I really had a really special opportunity of taking my mother to Paris in 2018 to see her perform for On the Run 2. And our tickets were $92. And so when she announced that she was going on tour, one of my first content pieces was unconventional reasons I chose to travel. And so the very last reason was to see a concert. And of course, it was a picture of Beyonce. And then she announced her tour dates. And so I really started encouraging my followers to consider traveling abroad to see her. I even went so far as to kind of create a blueprint, as a shout out to Blue Ivy. But the blueprint was really rooted in, one, choosing a destination based on if you have points and miles, choosing a destination based on your PTO availability, choosing a destination based on your budget, whether that was a place you needed to travel during shoulder season versus if you could afford to be somewhere during the beginning of high season. And what ended up happening is one of my girlfriends, Tasha, also a creator, she was like, girl, I know you're going to Stockholm. And I was like, correct. Because, you know, if you're a content girly, if you're not first, you last, right? So I knew I wanted to go to the first city. And so she was like, well, I'm going to just keep my eyes peeled. And so what happened was Tasha got the link off of Twitter for Ticketmaster. It was like the early access link. She found it deep in the Ticketmaster, one of, you know, a feed. And she messaged me and she was like, girl, I'm on here. I can't read nothing. I can't see nothing. I can't tell nothing. And I was like, just send me the screenshot. I got a translator. Because I love to go places that don't usually have menus in English. And so I have an AR translator, and you take a photo and then it translates from that language to English. So I was like, I can translate everything. And she was like, well, girl, forget the translator. Like, I don't even know where to sit. Like, I'm confused. I don't know what these sections mean. And she was freaking out because she's very type A, but she doesn't do well under pressure. And I operate best in chaos. And so I was like, girl, just send me the link. Send me the link, girl. I got it. She was like, okay, girl, just book us our tickets. Okay, we're going. We want to be in Club Renaissance. I was like, cool. So what ends up happening is we're stressed out. And I'm like, girl, I'm scared that the tickets are going to sell out. We have to get tickets. So we got tickets for the floor, but it wasn't Club Renaissance. But after I was finished, I was like, Tasha, this was so terrible. No one is going to figure this out and be able to go see her. And so I was like, you know what? As an honorary member of the Beehive, I have got to do something. And I was like, I'm going to create content centered around how to reverse engineer understanding the Ticketmaster system so that you can be able to book your tickets in time when they go on sale. Because we had all this time because it was Stockholm. Nobody was checking for Stockholm before I said I was going. I'm just being honest, respectfully. There was nobody, okay? So what happened was I reversed through the steps of everything that you would have to do and everything that would go wrong. Are we okay? Okay.
You're good.
And so what ended up happening is I created content, and it did okay on TikTok, but at the time I only had 2,000 followers on TikTok. So it did okay on TikTok. It got reposted a lot of times on Instagram by a lot of the larger pages. And then I just started getting floods of people hitting me up. And so as a result, she sold out Stockholm. I've had thousands of followers who were able to go get tickets from Cardiff to Nice to Stockholm. I have a huge following that's going to be in Stockholm. but all over Europe, and for pennies on the dollar of what they would have spent at home. And so as a result, I have been featured in several publications: NBC News, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal. I was supposed to be on Fox on Friday, but the news cycle hit and something happened. But I have some other outlets that may want to document my actual travel and experience while I'm there. So really exciting. But also all of this is just rooted in Black women understanding that we deserve and anything is possible. And so, yes, it is perfectly normal for you to be like, well, girl, I'm going to see B in Paris. What are you doing?
Yep. Especially when I know the tickets were better priced.
Better priced. My tickets for Club Renaissance are $366. So yeah.
And people here were paying thousands of dollars. I saw one girl who spent $3,000, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, I would have had to get a breast reduction with that money.
About. I saw your post, and there was one other girl who you guys both said basically consider going overseas, and I had never thought about it. Broke ass.
Yeah. And she actually, I sent her my reel, and she was able to get day 2, so she'll be in Stockholm also.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I had never.
It's gonna be so many girls in Stockholm. I'm excited.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a good time. I can't wait to see your content.
I have Beyonce memories at home when I saw the U.S. prices, because I was like, I can't. I'm not.
Well, that's why I didn't. When I wanted to go before, I had just recently moved to Dallas, but I lived in Houston for a long time, so I was gonna go back to Houston, and I was like, I'm not doing this. And it was cheaper. My ticket to Paris was like $350. Our tickets were $92. We did all the things. And I just feel like if you can, why wouldn't you?
That's right.
Why wouldn't you?
Because
we spend the money on a weekend, on a birthday weekend, on a section, brunch, and we spend the money. So, that was my mindset.
You spent less for travel and your tickets than some people spent for one ticket to the U.S. in their home cities.
And this is for the girls, because I did not share this at the time, but you can earn Delta miles through Ticketmaster. Everybody, just so you know, there's a Delta Ticketmaster site. You start there, and then you can book your tickets like normal and go about your business.
That's amazing.
We literally just did we just talked about the different ways that you can earn your Delta Sky Miles, and the girls be sleeping on it, because I just earned like 100 and something Delta Sky Miles because I just placed the order on Instacart.
Correct. It's up. It is up. Listen, it's so funny. I was with we were celebrating my best friend's birthday the other day, and her husband's friend was like, I've been watching reels, and he was like, I didn't earn 40,000 miles this week, and he was like shaking, because he was like, they're a family of 5, and he was just like, I just felt like the travel that I wanted to do was not possible, and it was not accessible. And to me, the reason why I encourage people to chase the points with or without a travel rewards card, because that is the key thing that I want the girlies to understand. If you ain't got that credit score yet to be on that Amex team and that Chase, that's fine. You can still be earning. And so, that's a big one for me, because it's transformational. And if you can travel, if you can spend less and travel more, I'm always going to encourage that.
And that's one thing I appreciate about the both of you, because both of you are so transparent. Like the gatekeeping, we know that's a real thing. It exists. But I appreciate the creators that get out here and just share the information. Share it, because it's important. Prior to both of you, to be honest, I only thought about points as related to credit cards. I didn't think about all these different ways that we have to add points. And I see people dropping comments about how they've earned miles.
And they add up. They all add up. Like the other day, Sephora was doing 12 miles per dollar. And I called all of my girlfriends that I know spend. And I was like, girl, you stockpile anyway, and you can afford this. If you spend what you spend in 6 months today, you will have enough miles for a one-way to the Caribbean.
For sure. And somebody just asked that we share the drinks again. So I'm going to go ahead and share, because my drink is phenomenal.
I'm so sad I didn't have the time to make it.
It's okay, girl, but you have it, and it's amazing. So we have Uncomplicated Lush. The flavor that we have is strawberry blossom. I made mine into a cocktail. I mixed mine with blueberry vodka and a splash of champagne across the top. Well, Asti, across the top. And I know Jennifer made a mocktail. Do you want to share your ingredients again?
Yes, I
So,
am. Oh,
oh,
oh no! Oh,
sorry.
oh, oh no! I want to see. I want to see because I've been wanting to know about this brand.
So this is I made a mocktail. So this is Seed Lip. It's a non-alcoholic distilled beverage. It's made with citrus botanicals, and then I topped it off with non-alcoholic prosecco.
Okay, so what is that flavor like? Is it
So with this,
reminiscent of alcohol? Like, does it?
no, it really depends. So for this one, it's more like reminiscent of like it makes your drink a bit sweeter with a little pop of citrus, right? But
Okay,
it's not
okay.
giving you that burn of like a vodka or a gin or anything like that. It's more refreshing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I am drinking gin, but
You know,
I
I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to some
listen.
liquor
Take
one
your
of these
time,
days.
baby. Take your time. So I am a gin drinker. I'm a Hendrix girl specifically. So
Okay.
I am drinking Hendrix with a splash of I pureed some watermelon and strained
Okay.
it. Yeah. And then I listen, because what I'm not about to do is play with these calories, girl. I got to get back in some swimsuits for some collaboration. So I'm on this Poppy. It's my it's a probiotic soda, but I love it. It's really good for gut health. So it's one of my favorite mixers. And it's this one is raspberry rose.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to try that. What's the
I
brand of the soda
love
again?
Poppy. It's called Poppy.
And it's a
It's a
probiotic
probiotic.
soda.
It's so good. Poppy and Olipop are my two favorites, but they're so good for gut health. And like, I don't, I got to, I be having to be snatched. So I have my stuff together.
You do a good job at that. I'm telling
Thank
you, I'm
you.
coming for those boots. Like
Girl,
whenever
you can
I
have
gained about
them
10
because
pounds,
I
but I'm
told you
coming.
I couldn't even really get them all the way over them lady lumps. So come get them. I'm gonna be in Houston on the 29th. I'll be there for Celebrate Rose.
Oh, yes.
I'll be there again.
So that's where I met you at last year. I'll be there as well again. And so we'll definitely have to
Yes,
link
we're
up
gonna have
and
a
say, hey, girl.
reunion.
And so one of the things that Mercedes always emphasized, and I thought I was the only person like this, is a welcome drink. I
Yeah.
love, like, what's a hotel without a welcome drink?
Leave.
Yeah.
Leave. Them people don't care about you.
They
Why are you
don't.
there? I'm not playing
For
with
sure.
y'all. What is
I need a
happening? That is terrible.
champagne, a cocktail, a mocktail,
Something.
something as soon as
Something.
I walk
Listen,
in.
I'll even take a bottle of water, preferably 2 to 4. But listen, something.
Not preferably
What?
2 to 4.
I'm telling you, I like when people tell me the hotels that they stayed at, and they'll be like, "How do you get a welcome drink?" And I'm just like, I know how much you spent. They didn't even give you something to sip on at check-in.
Something.
I don't understand that.
So
I don't know. That's why I love boutique hotels. They are like those details. The devil is in the details. Honey. I didn't have like when I tell you. Listen, I'm sorry. I got so excited. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We keep cutting each other off. Go ahead.
It's because the excitement. But when I think about some of the things that I've had, I was in Colombia. They made me this mint mojito in a little Ziploc baggie with a straw in it. I done had lemongrass tea in Thailand, fresh squeezed juice everywhere. Tamarind margaritas. Like these people are over here like, girl, we respect your coin. And I appreciate that because listen, I work hard.
Yes.
Okay. Please show me some love and attention and affection. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, even more recently, it is much easier for me to get comp stays. But there was a point in time where I had a massive following, and hotels were still kind of giving me the like, well, you can pay, energy. And I mean, truthfully, and like obviously, like I have not been. I am a travel agent, but I have not been in full practice because right now it is not easy. It is impossible for me to manage my inbox, my DMs, my emails. Like I cannot be of service in the way that I am comfortable providing service. So it's just too hard. So like, yes, like fam trips are cool, but it's hard. And so I'm just like, I can't just be staying places and paying all this money and not getting the service. And I just encourage y'all to stop doing that as well. Don't be staying places that don't treat us well. That's why I look at creators and I'm like, why are you promoting this hotel and you have 100,000 followers and they made you pay.
Yeah.
They made you pay. And you gonna put them in your stories, you gonna tag everything, that you gonna get reposted everywhere. Like my monthly reach is 1.3 million. What I look like going to somebody's hotel house and paying for everything and paying for the because we can't just stay in a regular room, baby. We got to have an ocean a pool.
Right.
Y'all be expecting us to be dangling from a treetop and be able to pick berries from our room. Like, we can't do nothing regular. So you spending $1,200 a night and,
Yeah.
and giving all that
And
free
provide
promo. You're not
free
getting,
marketing.
you ain't got an affiliate link. No, you ain't getting 10 on 2. They didn't even want to give you breakfast. I can't do it. It's a no for me.
Yeah.
And that's the part, is that sometimes these luxury hotels charging all of this, and they aren't giving you even a pinky's worth of what a boutique hotel
They won't.
will give you at a fraction of the cost. Because I went to one boutique hotel. Every day, the butler came to me with a drink every morning.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got there, I was greeted with champagne and beach bags.
Yes, ma'am.
Like,
yes, ma'am. Hello? Girl, I hadn't even gone. We hadn't even talked about that. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so we kind of talked about our positive travel experiences. Have you ever had a negative travel experience that impacted your mental health? Well, it was like, whoa, this was not.
Yes, actually, the irony is I basically had a nervous breakdown in Egypt, and then
oh my
every
gosh.
piece of content that I created went viral. It was
Oh,
hilarious.
God. Tell
I was
us about
like,
that.
what are the odds? Yeah, so I was doing a mileage run at the end of February. American was like, girl, you got one day to get 1,200 miles. What you gonna do? And I was like, fly to Barcelona. And so I flew to Barcelona. I got my miles, and I had helped my best friend plan her spring break trip to Paris. And so she was like, well, come meet me. I mean, just stay. Like, we'll be able to catch up. And so I was like, girl, I'm not going to Paris this fashion week, but I'll meet you in the south of France, because she was going to Nice. So we met up in Nice, and I went from there, and I was like, I'm not ready to go home. I went to Sharm el Sheikh, which is right along the Red Sea. It's technically considered Asia, but it's really Egypt. It's complicated. But I was like, okay, I'll go there. I'll work my way back up to Cairo. I was in Cairo maybe less than 24 hours. And I had a bad situation. I had worked with some drivers in the past. Both of them were, they were traveling at the time. One of them was in Siwa, the other one was in Luxor. And they were like, we can't accommodate with you, and we don't have anybody we trust with you. And so someone I had met in Sharm had connected me to a driver, but it was more so giving, this is my cousin's homeboy, and he's a nice man, but he don't really know his way around, and his car is giving putt-putt. You know, emissions, we're not passing the inspection. It was questionable. And so we ended up in a situation where, like, near the pyramids is, you know, I know that those pictures look beautiful, but what people don't really understand about how travel content can be problematic is it doesn't always paint a very clear picture of the political climate, of circumstance, of poverty. And so we ended up in a very unsafe area. And in a matter of a block, I saw children eating garbage. I saw a man beating his wife in the street. And I saw, you know, just loose animals that seemed like they should have been in the zoo wandering. And so I was like, oh, Lord, I don't know if Cairo is really what I really need in my life right now. And I had already started getting all the brown sugar commentary, because I am a very curvy woman. And even though I really try to be very respectful of cultural practice when I'm traveling, I cannot deny that my hips are 52 inches. It don't matter what I put on, they thangin'. And so, you know, I was feeling that level of being sexualized and objectified, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it. And I just so happened to get really, really lucky. One of my followers was like, hey, you haven't said anything in your stories in like 24 hours. That's not like you. And I was like, girl, I'm having a hard time. And the crazy thing was, she was Egyptian. She was what's the word? You know, the digging ones. Like a tomb raider.
Archaeologist?
Thank you. See, I was like,
I don't know where we going.
Yes, she is an archaeologist. And she was like, I lived there. My ex is there. Ironically, he was shooting a film with Will Smith that we will never see. But anyways, she was like, he's in Luxor right now. I'm gonna call him and tell him to come back. She was like, don't leave. And I was like, no, girl, I'm about to, Qatar got a flight. I'm about to go. And she was like, just give me 24 hours. She was like, I'm gonna have him come meet you first thing in the morning. Don't worry. He came to meet me. When I tell you, this man would not even let me reach in my purse. He would not let me pay for anything. She told him, she was like, whatever she needs, whatever you got to do, get her a driver. She need a car, food, everything,
Wow.
paid for everything. For 2 days, this man took me around and he was like, if you want to leave, you can, but if not, like, I'll take care of you. And he did. He absolutely did. And, you know, my mom always says, like, the Lord takes care of children and fools. And I try to be both at the same time. I really, really do. I lean into it, honey. I'm living in chaos. And so, but what I will say is that the kind of community that I built with my followers, the kind of trust that I have, you know, amongst them and what they have with me, I have had some of the most incredible experiences all over the world just from someone being like, let me make sure my people good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it really just goes to show like how much good there is in the world. And I think that when you travel, the one thing I'll say is that when people say trust your gut, like I've really learned, you know, and it's been small things. Like there's been streets that I'll be like, ooh, and I just won't walk. I'll just turn, go the other way, and then something crazy ends up happening. I see it in the news. Like there's just been so many instances where, you know, I just trust that compass, and it has yet to lead me astray. And I'm 50 countries in. I mean, I've had probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 repeats some places, and it's just always comes through for me, which is why I think it's so important for people to not get so caught up in the idea of travel that you go to places before you're ready, because I think everywhere in the world is a place that you can visit, but I think that there are some parts of the world that require a little bit more experience, and being an inexperienced traveler, specifically an inexperienced solo traveler, it's a dangerous game. And I know a lot of people play the game of, you know, yeah, you can solo travel. Anybody can solo travel. But I'm like, girl,
Everybody cannot.
I was 40 countries in before I went to Cartagena. You know what I mean? Like I had been so many places before I went to Istanbul. Like there are places that I'm just like, nah, nah, like that's not what you need to be doing. And it's not just about that. Like I also have the luxury of like having a lot of different like safety nets in place. I like let something happen with one of my tickets. I got miles on every airline. Hey, I'm gonna get home regardless. I might have to pay more in taxes than I want to pay, but like I got hotel points tucked in Hilton and Marriott and Hyatt. Like I have ways to navigate being okay. There are times where you just gotta be like, I don't need to be here. It's time to go. It's time to go. And I think a lot of people enter into travel now because social media has encouraged them so much to do so that they step out and they do not have the resources. That pocket is light, and whether that's getting flued out and you ending up stuck out because you wasn't with what he was with, and now you're like, how am I gonna get home? Where am I gonna stay? Like it is so important to really be considering your safety and what you can and can't do. And I always tell people, like, it's okay if you're not ready. It's okay if you don't have the resources. It's okay to wait, because there's nothing more dangerous than being on the other side of the world and you do not have the resources that you need to make sure that you can navigate safely. Safely.
Yeah.
I feel like with social media, we don't always, I try my best to be transparent. I know you are very transparent with all three of us are very transparent when it comes to our travel experiences. But I think that what are a few tips you would give someone, because social media doesn't always give you the real. They give you the beautiful part of the solo trip, these epic photos, these epic outfits. But Tania and I had a very wild experience last year with travel.
DR is something
and it showed the
else.
scary side. So what tips would you give?
You know, I'm very, very big on having your story straight and really not like, people don't need to know that you're traveling solo. I always have a cousin, a homegirl, an uncle who lives down the street. Like there's a lot of layers to my storyline. Because of the way I navigate, also to the way I dress. Like I'm not someone I'm not gonna drip in designer, but I'm gonna wear a big old nasty prom earring. I'm gonna have on some colors. You're gonna look at me and be like, we should rob her. Like no matter what. Like that's how I dress. And so, you know, I try to be as mindful as possible of my surroundings. I'm very, very, like when I say I do not play about where I stay, I'm not playing about where I lay my head. Like I have to be really comfortable with what that means, what that looks like. Listen, I respect the girls who love an Airbnb. That is not my ministry. I'm not staying in your house. I'm not staying in your house. You're not going to cancel on me at the last minute. You're not going to have me on candid camera. I don't know who else has the keys. if you rummaging through my stuff to set me up, like I've seen too much. I've been traveling like this my entire adult life. I have seen too much. I do not play about where I stay. And that does not always mean like, and hear me out. I love large hotel groups, but the problem when you stay at a large hotel is that nobody is policing the comings and goings in a lot of these destinations.
For
You
sure.
stay somewhere that has 200 rooms, trust and believe it's somebody somewhere that they don't need to be, just waiting to catch somebody or anybody slipping. So, I'm really big on it's one way in, it's one way out. I can see you. It's a security man that's walking along the beat.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone at the front door that knows my name, that knows my face. I don't play about those kinds of things. I'm really big on, for me, another form of safety is how you book your travel. I have a follower. I helped her. I did an itinerary for her for Dubai. She had paid for her airfare, but she had paid through Cash App because, Cash App has a card now. You can use the Cash App card, which I do like. If you're doing withdrawals internationally, I enjoy the Cash App card because you're not dealing with all those headaches. But she had paid with a Cash App card. And what happened was her daughter's luggage had been missing for 6 days. And she didn't have any recourse. She didn't have any way to be like, okay, I need this. Can you do this for me? What does this look like? And I helped her with navigating some of the things, but I'm not sure how much she's going to be able to get back, for her troubles because of that. I think being well-researched is really, really important. Really understanding neighborhoods, where you're staying, where are you staying in proximity. Listen, everybody got a hood. Everybody got a hood. Where are
We
you
talked about
staying?
that last week.
Where are you staying? A big thing that I used to do when I first started solo traveling was I used to go on YouTube and type in the destination and type in what their popular scams were. Because every place in the world
That's a
scams
good
different.
one.
That's a good
They
idea.
scam different, right? So like in Thailand, a common scam is you get in the taxi, they tell you the meter is broken, and then now granted, the baht to dollar is crazy, so it's really gonna be a $4 ride.
You're really rich anyway,
It's
but
supposed to be
still.
$2.25 though, sir. I want my money.
Yeah.
So that's a common scam. Like there are places in Argentina where they'll like spill makeup on you, and then as you're like looking down at whatever they spilled on you, somebody's snatching your purse. They're everywhere. I saw one the other day in Bali that they have really bad is a lot of people will use like the kind of like seedy currency exchange places.
I just
And
saw this.
the man will count your money out and then he'll give it to you. And when you give it back to him, he drops some of the money in his lap. And then he gives you back the lesser amount. And if you're not paying attention, you will just get shorted. And he'll be like, oh, I gave it to you. But the person happened to have it on camera. And so, they didn't get away with it. But understanding like the culture of scamming, understanding the political, the religious, all of those things really, really matter. You know what I mean? Like I was in Greece recently and somebody was like, oh, they're racist there. And I was like, well, actually, there are 700,000 people from Algeria that are currently, like, I'm sorry, not Algeria, from Albania that are currently living in Greece. So what you might be experiencing is racism from people who are not Greek. They're Albanian and they have a very different relationship with people of color than Greek people do. So understanding like and navigating those things, all of those things really, really matter. And I think a lot of people get caught up in like, I want to take these 4 pictures for the gram. And there's never consideration of safety, of, what is happening in this part of the world. A lot of people recently have been talking about Italy is racist. Well, Italy's political climate right now is very, very different than it was a few years ago. And the people that are currently, in office have some pretty extreme beliefs. And so, I don't think that it's much different than when, one of our former presidents was in office and a lot of people were starting to feel very emboldened to act on their prejudices because they had somebody who was like, go off, baby, do you,
Just do it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so, I think people are starting to experience that. And so all of those things are really important in understanding, on the most basic level before you even think about booking a ticket somewhere. And I also feel like socioeconomics matter. I've met so many people that told me they had bad experiences in Barcelona. I stayed at the Edition. They treated me, they treated me amazing. I basically had a butler. That wasn't my experience, but what you are, you know, money spend and people treat you differently. And when you are staying amongst the people, because you stand in a hovel, like your experience might be very, very different
For
than, you
sure.
know, someone else's.
For sure.
Definitely.
Just to kind of go back for a second, when we talked about visiting Cairo, my experience in Cairo was also very interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that what helped to save me from it was the tour guide that I had. I dropped his information. His name is Amina. But being a Black woman in Cairo, even though there are people that are the exact same color as
It's
you, you know,
wild.
it was, I was called Beyonce. I was called brown sugar. People trying to take pictures with you, just the aggressiveness. And I remember me having a tour guide that had to kind of step in and was like, not them, like you're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna mess with them, and him going back and forth because people were getting aggressive.
Yeah.
But when listening to your gut, one of the things that made me nervous about being in Egypt was that you felt the climate of what was going on,
When were
especially
you
with them getting ready
there?
to. I was there 2019, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
right before COVID.
Oh yeah.
And you know, with them building New Cairo. And so what essentially New Cairo is that you have Cairo, the inner city, that's kind of struggling. They're having the economic issues. There's a lot of poverty. And then New Cairo is going to be like the haves. It's about to be the haves and the have-nots.
Absolutely.
And you
Absolutely.
feel the unrest in that. And so when you're there, you know, regardless of what hotel you're staying in, they're doing the bum checks, they're doing the car checks. And if you're not there and you're not aware, if all you're seeing are the pictures of the pyramids where somebody is jumping and it looks like nobody is around, that is not real life.
That's not.
And that's one of the things that Jennifer and I have talked about a lot, and I even told you, is just sharing the reality of travel. You
Yeah.
know, we make it look like it's all easy, it's all fine. Sorry, social media make it look like it's all
Yeah.
fine, it's all this and that. It's our responsibility, if we are highlighting these destinations, to
Absolutely.
also give people the information they need to successfully navigate
Yeah,
these
because it's
destinations.
unethical not to. It is to me like, and I'm really big on ethical influencing because I feel like it's so important to be honest with people. Like, there's been times where someone's been like, I saw you stayed at this hotel, I'm gonna book it. And I'll be like, well, baby, I didn't pay what they're gonna ask you for. And I don't think that it's worth that
For
coin. And
sure.
these are the things I think you should do instead. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Cairo was amazing, but I think that as a Black woman, especially as a Black woman with curves, there are parts of the world that are going to be hell for you. Turkey is one of them. I was in Marrakesh for Christmas. When I tell you, I thought I was going to catch a case over there because the way those men were talking to me in the Medina, like I was an animal, like I was a piece of me, nice tits, nice ass, anywhere I walked.
Yeah.
I wore long dresses the entire trip, arms covered, my chest was covered the entire trip. Men were walking up to me just whispering filth. And I was with other people. I was not alone. And there was people that were like, Mercedes, I don't know how you travel by yourself. And I was like, this is why.
Right.
So when people are like, oh, Marrakesh is safe to travel solo, I'm like, girl, if you are someone who loves Instagram, you're going to want to stay in a Riyadh, which is going to be in the Medina. And baby, GPS ain't going. Google Maps, good luck. Okay. You're going to be on your own. And navigating those winding streets with seedy men whispering weird things in foreign languages because they have different kinds of relationships with women in different parts of the world. We are not seen the same way everywhere. And people really have to understand that. I just watched a video of a girl like, oh, you can wear what you want to wear in Morocco. You can wear what you want to wear in Dubai. And I'm
That makes
thinking,
me
girl, it's
so
first of
upset.
all, girl, it's Ramadan. It's
Yeah.
Ramadan, baby. What are you talking about?
And
Why
it's
would
not
you?
culturally
It's
sensitive. Like,
so
why do
this. I'm like, girl, I wouldn't wear that in Miami. You are tripping,
Mhm.
and it's
It's so
crazy.
it's so that I think it was last year or the year before I did a whole series on fashion and travel, right? And it is so important for you to not only just research the clothing that you should wear, but also research the customs, research the holidays. Because if you're going to a Muslim country, it's Ramadan. You know what I mean? You need to be mindful of what that means and what that represents. for me personally, when I went to Morocco, I did not do my research, right? I was very new in the travel game.
Okay.
And I did not bring anything to cover my head. And we were going to a mosque, right? I had no idea, didn't think about it or anything. And I ended up, luckily someone had a blanket and I wrapped a blanket around my head. But had I been on top of my game, I would have known, like, okay, you're going to a Muslim country, you need to have something that, you know, to cover your head. And you make it's sad that social media makes you think, because people are risque and they do post these pictures of themselves in these
I'd be like,
scantily clad bathing suits, and it's like, it doesn't. Yes.
Crazy. I don't understand it. I really don't. You know what? Somebody said this, as an American, we really need to humble ourselves. I like, you know, what's interesting is that I am someone who really pushes against the content of places I felt safe as a Black person. And it could be because I earned my followers. And so I really feel like it's clickbait, and predatory. Because a lot of the times the way people are defining safety is really just based on personal preferences. Like, you ask somebody if you could use their phone in Milan. Well, girl, I don't know you, so I don't feel like it's safe for me to give you my phone, ma'am.
Right.
Like, there are so many different instances in which safety is defined really oddly. But I really think one of the biggest problems is that even us, we go to places and act like we don't have no good sense or home training. I have seen us some places and been like, I know you lying. You cannot. This is embarrassing. Your behavior, how you're treating these people, you know. And I'm big on treating, like, working people, like, with dignity and respect. And it's always just so shocking to me, the kind of things that I witness, especially because I'm alone a lot of times. So I'm observing, I'm taking stuff in, and I'm just like, this is us. Like, the way we get treated in our own country, you gonna go somewhere else and treat people like this where they live? That's crazy to me. It's a big problem. It's a big problem.
One issue that I have that I feel like is a big problem is the fact that we expect people to speak English everywhere we go. I absolutely cannot stand it.
That is the one.
I traveled last year, and we went to a country and English was not heavily spoken. I was prepared, right? I mean, I knew enough. But when one of the people traveling with me said the language barrier does not work for me, then we can't travel together ever again.
Ever.
Because we are on their territory, right? If we need to learn how to say avez-vous de la sauce piquante so that we can get our hot sauce instead of asking for hot sauce directly, then we need to learn that, okay? Like, we can, I can't, how dare you?
It's the audacity for me.
It's the audacity.
I'll be like, girl.
Let me tell y'all one of the destinations I have an issue with people visiting and they act like these things are new. When people go to Bali, Bali has always been Bali. When I first traveled to Bali in 2018, the issues people are talking about now, like them having issues with unmarried couples, them having issues with, you know, people covering up. And I'm like, this has always been the Bali I knew. But all that they show you on social media, the Bali swing, people living their best life. And that's not what it is. Bali is another one of those places where they expect you to be respectful of their customs. But now that social media has showed you the floating breakfast and the $20 massages, you feel like you can come out here and just do whatever you want to do. And it's never been that. I don't even think that people realize that if you are caught with drugs in Bali, the penalty can be the death penalty.
Death. Heavy on the death.
Death.
Yes. Like, there are some people, I'm like, based on your social activities, let me list all the places you should go. Like, I have one of my guy friends recently, I had that conversation with him. I was like, I love you, and I would hate for you to never come home. And the way you give it up, when you travel, you don't need to go none of these places, because these people are not playing with you. They are not playing with you. Man, and also, too, I think that, you know, it's a dangerous game when you really start promoting places that are inexpensive to travel, because I also think that like creates a lot of really negative, it creates a lot of negativity in terms of the kinds of people that are traveling to those places and how they respect the culture, because they're going there to have access to what they couldn't access elsewhere. But the mentality isn't there to really, like, experience, you know, a destination, you know, for what it is. And so, you know, Bali is really one of those places where you're like, a lot of these people, like, poverty is not even the word for how some of these people are living. I said before, I really love food. So I've spent a lot of time watching a lot of like YouTube videos of like old families who have been, in food industry for a long time. And you're seeing how these people are living that are like YouTube famous or Instagram famous for dishes that they serve that are $1 and $2. And you're like, they live somewhere where the floor is mud. You know what I mean? Like, everything that they have, they just reinvest into their business. But when you think about how the fame that they have garnered, these people not making any money at all. And you go and you come and it's vacation for you, but this is life for somebody. And I think that that's what a lot of people just don't process, is that, it matters how you treat your driver. It matters how you treat your tour guide. All of those things are impactful. The guy that took me around, when he helped me, he had 1,200 followers. I made one reel and talked about my experience. He has 12,000 followers now, and the man has been booked solid since I left. That was last February. That was last February. Like, like, these are things, like, small things can change people's lives. And so, when people are just like, oh yeah, I like it because it's cheap, I can stay in a villa for $42. Can you imagine what is happening in that part of the world, that you can stay somewhere that beautiful and it's $42? That's crazy. And I just don't think people really like wrap their minds around that.
Right. And I don't know how we've become so entitled that we feel like we can go to these places and just expect them to cater to us because we are visitors.
Yeah.
Like, if you are going to truly experience these places, treat them with the same respect that you would expect somebody to give you if they were traveling to your home country. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that
but I think it's like that, like, but it's over tourism, right? Like, because when you think about some of these destinations now, like, I have not been to Bali, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you cannot pay me to go. Like, currently, I'm super good on it. Like, when I was supposed to go, it didn't happen, and now I'm like, I'm gonna let y'all have that, and what I'm gonna do is find an island on the Philippines that y'all have never heard of, and I'm gonna go about my business. Because I know that I don't want that. First of all, I don't believe in going anywhere where everyone around me is speaking my language. I don't even want to, if I'm in a restaurant and more than one other group of people other than me is speaking English, I will leave, because I'm like, I'm in the wrong place. Because I want to go somewhere y'all don't even know about, because it's somebody's auntie just here. It's a silver pot and everybody's local. You know what I mean? One of the best restaurants I went to in Oklahoma City, it was local, everyday people. And it was some of the best food I'd ever ate. Ever.
No.
I just,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, one of the places I hate that everybody has found out about and is now traveling to, Cappadocia in Turkey.
And it's so beautiful.
Like, that was
so special.
Favorite trips, and it was super special. It was amazing. It was very authentic. And now that we have the big dresses and I'm like, it's ruined.
It is one of the most beautiful places. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I went out the first day just to take photos, and then the next day I went up. When I tell you what, I was crying. We had to stop taking pictures because I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. You know how beautiful. Like, I was like, this is just earth. Yeah. This is just rocks and dust and trees, and it was just, I couldn't believe that, like, we live in a world that is capable of this kind of natural beauty. And I was just awestruck. And it's one of those special places, and it makes me sad because as someone who creates content that's centered around travel, it's hard because there are times that, like, people will be like, where was that? And I will not tell them. I will hold it to my vest. And it's not because I don't want people to travel, but I feel like there are some places that are so special that someone has to seek them out. You have to find them like a treasure. You know what I mean? Like, really like a treasure. And so it's hard. Like, I mean, heck, I remember the first time I went to Tulum was in 2013. It was one of the most special places I have ever been. And from 2013 until 2016, my family, we did Christmas there every year. And I remember that last year, I was like, nope, we're not coming back.
Tulum did.
We're not coming back. And then COVID, oh my God, what they did to that place, it makes me so sad. I remember when all the hotels were running on generators. they didn't even have, you didn't have light. Like, you did not have actual light. Your lights worked X amount of the day, and that was it. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, it's a Aloft, it's a Hilton. Like, it's just, it's
Everything.
not.
And it's
You got all
super
these
touristy
digital
now.
nomads, the digital nomads.
I tell people all the time, I was in Playa del Carmen a couple months ago, and I said, well, I don't want to go there because they Tulum'd it, right? And there's certain places that I don't want to tell people about because I don't want them to Tulum it,
It's
right?
so
Because it's
trash.
so crazy what they did to that place.
And
It's
it was
not what it once
so,
was.
man, like when I say it was special, I mean like up and coming chefs were going there to just pop off a restaurant. You had artists. I mean, the sculpture that is there that everyone knows, it was a part of like a huge contemporary art exhibition, and they just
Yeah.
kept it there. But like, there were so many really special things that were happening in Tulum that I have not seen in many places in the world. And it just makes me so sad that like that is what happens when people travel. And the thing is, all of those places just become trash. And I don't mean it like they aren't good anymore. I mean like the cities become trash. And then what happens when like people are like, well, I'm waiting for the next Tulum. Then what happens to that place? Does it
Exactly.
become Cancun? Because don't
Yeah.
nobody want to go there like for real, right? Like, what happens? You know, when I think about it's places in Thailand and Vietnam, people don't understand like the sunblock I wear is reef safe. Everything is like with intention,
Mhm.
right? Because I've seen what happens to the ecosystem. There are whole areas in Vietnam where they will not allow people to go to anymore because the pollution from the boats. There was film on the water from the amount of sunblock in some of these places. The fish were dying, trash everywhere. Like, it's just like travel, you know, but like respect the place.
Travel
You know, like you
responsibly.
it,
I know
it's crazy.
when I
I don't
went
know.
to
I don't
the
know how to push that more, but it's a huge issue.
It's
when I went to
disrespectful. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's disrespectful, some of the things that I see. I have seen, I had many moons ago, I did a post about being a good tourist, a responsible tourist, because remember the I Amsterdam sign in Amsterdam, that was taken away because people were not being good tourists. Remember, people were taking selfies and artistic photos at Auschwitz. Like, let's remember what happened there, right? Why?
Yeah, no, I know, you know. I'm sorry, I just got so upset because I already know. Right?
And when
Yeah, and
I
it's
went
just so
to
disrespectful.
Thailand to the Fifi Islands, like getting out the boat to go snorkeling, there was trash in the water. There were floating soda bottles. There was so much debris in the water that you couldn't even enjoy it. And the saddest thing is that if you see the pictures and you see the color of that water, that's truly what it looks like. But then to go into the water and you see that there's trash everywhere, it's like, what makes you go to places that are this pure and this beautiful and just destroy them?
It's crazy.
It
It's
is. And
crazy.
so we're coming to the end of our
Oh,
segment
sorry.
tonight, and we've been having such good conversation.
Yes.
But one thing that I wanted to end with is just one of the things that we know is that being influencers, especially Black influencers, we know that sometimes the odds are not always stacked in our favor. Mercedes, how can people support you as a content creator? What are the things that you need people to do in order to support your journey as a content
I
creator?
mean, to shop my Instagram. No, you can. I mean, my Amazon storefront is an excellent resource. But to be honest, I'm at a point now where I'm like, girl, the next time you see a campaign and you're like, I love this brand, and I'm looking up and down their page, and I'm just trying to understand why my faves are nowhere to be found, start holding them accountable. Like, girl, if you see Hilton posting and you're like, child, Mercedes could tear this to the ground, tag me and be like, what's up? What's up? I mean, I recently had an article where like they called me a TikTok creator on Hollywood Unlocked. They called me a
I saw
TikTok user.
that.
And my followers do not play about me, baby. They had fixed that in 3 hours. You know, correct. And you know, Jason don't do nothing. He don't fix nothing. Very much
Okay.
so. The Benz Hive don't play about me. But you know, I really feel like the biggest thing is like hold brands accountable. If you see a brand, if you know someone in PR, you know someone in the hospitality space, like reach out, connect. You know, some of the best things that have happened to me have really come from someone thinking of me. The first article that I was in from the Washington Post, a childhood friend saw it on Twitter and was like, yeah, you need to connect with this lady. And then that led to like all kinds of other opportunities. And so I would say the biggest thing is when you have a creator that you rock with, don't be afraid to be the connective tissue, because a lot of people just need that community. And so if you can create it, if you can impact it, absolutely do so. But I mean, my Amazon storefront gonna sell out regardless, but I would love y'all to support.
Yeah.
We got you, girl.
Thank you. I had such a good time. My lives be going on for like 3 hours. So honestly, I looked up at the clock and was like, oh, is this a healthy amount of time? Is this what happens when you have boundaries? And I was like, I can respect that, you know?
No, so I think that because we start so late, I'm always like, let's try to give, and it's in the middle of the week. I'm like, let's try to do an hour or so, but we always have so much fun. Like we can go on all night.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you want to come back.
Yeah, no, this was super fun. I'm always excited to really be able to talk to folks that are just like-minded and see travel the same way as me. I was really kind of blown away because y'all were just tapping into all the things that I'm like, girl, I be wanting to say this, but I don't have nobody to say it to. So I appreciate that. And, you know, to me, I think that like anytime that we can be impactful, and really change people's experience, right? Because so many people have a negative experience and then they take that one nugget of negativity and they spread it, you know, like cancer. And then it becomes its own Black travel feed, and people are like, oh, I don't like such and such because they did such and such. And I'll be like, to who, girl, when? And so, you know, I think, you know, just being able to kind of voice actual concerns, speak to actual truths and experiences that we've had, I think that's always really important. And also, I love being able to like, you know, just like sounding board. The way we were like ping, ping, ping off of each other was just so amazing, because I think we've all had so many different experiences. I mean, I watch your travels. I'm always so excited to see you. You know, and like also too, I think that like when you are about immersive travel, you're about experiencing people, you know, that's really, to me, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a travel snob. Like, I'm looking at you crazy if you stand in all inclusive and you ain't ate out of nobody's auntie's pot and you ain't been to none of, you know, I want to see the art. I want to connect with the people. I want to do the things that really make a place. You know what I mean? Like, girl, we not cruise ship porting our way through travel. That's not what we do over here. And so I really respect and really love that is how you see the world, and how you guys are navigating. And I had such a wonderful time.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be in our host. Let me tell you when I knew I liked Mercedes. We were at the Celebrants Rose event, and we were talking about Mexico City. And I was like, if I stay in Mexico City, I'm staying in Polanco. And she was like, oh, you a traveler. And I realized that so many people, so before I became a travel company owner, I was a travel writer. That's where I got my start. At heart, I'm a writer. I write, I read, that's who I am. And so to be able to talk real life about travel outside of what's popular, you don't see that too much. And so I appreciate travel content creators where you can talk about real life travel. Like you said, going to local spots, eating out somebody auntie's kitchen.
That's because we're not traveling to take photos. No? I mean, like, yes, I'm gonna take a picture, but I'm not traveling to take a picture. And there's been places I left and I was like, this content ain't content. But, you know, I had an amazing time. It was everything that I wanted. And I have the value to take back to my community and really share in a meaningful way. And that is what matters to me. That's what's important to me.
Well, that's amazing. And thank you so much for joining us. We are thankful for our sponsor tonight. And this is our Sips and Trips, where we drink our favorite cocktails and talk travel. If you enjoyed tonight, definitely make sure you are following Mercedes of Calculated Opulence, Jennifer of Red Lips and Passports. I'm Tania. I'm Tania the author, and I'm also Travels by Tania, travel company I own. Definitely tune in with us. We try to do at least 2 episodes a month where we talk real life about travel with some of our favorite content creators. So thank you again, Mercedes, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And before we leave, let's announce the winner of our giveaway. So let me go ahead and spin the wheel.
For those of you that ask, Uncomplicated Lush, and we are drinking Strawberry Blossom. So this drink is good. I am good and super lit. I'm not even gonna lie
Are
to you.
you?
I am, girl. Woo.
And congratulations to our winner. I am Chastity Dion. You are the winner of our Uncomplicated
Congrats.
Lush cocktail kit. So we will slide in your DM shortly to get your contact information.
So thank you, ladies, for joining us. We'll talk again soon, and everybody have a great night. Be safe.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.